Hello, Summiteers! It's amazing. Some of you are still jumping, right? You think you'd learn. Mike's going to the stage. Somebody's going to talk loud. Did you enjoy your Warranty Solutions lunch and your 801 Chop House gift certificate? Man, I'm telling you, this Innovative Dealer Summit is lit, as my daughter would say. I hope that's good. I don't know. That's her cool word. We got 3 fabulous speakers for you today. We're going to pack them all into an hour. So we're going to call them the Fast and the Fabulous. First up, we're very excited to have with us Darren Haygood. He is the president and CEO of Transparency. He's been proudly serving the automotive industry for over the past 18 years. Darren brings a unique perspective to the conversation regarding digital marketing. Having worked directly for an OEM, as a general manager for a dealership, as an executive with a large digital marketing company, and now as president and COO of Transparency, Darren has spent his career working to drive innovation and change within our industry. A quick online search turned up the following. He is one good-looking guy, and we have the same barber. Very cool. It must be love they're wearing matching shirts. He's apparently a runner, but he's too cheap to actually pay for the photo. And here we see Darren in beast mode. Darren told me the other day he was at a hotel, he ordered a wake-up call. The phone rang a few minutes later and the lady on the other end said, "What the heck are you doing with your life?" Please give a warm Innovative Dealer Summit welcome to Darren Haygood.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it.
Big green button.
Big green button works. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing? I appreciate the opportunity to be here. We're obviously very excited to be a participant in this conference. Probably many of you have never heard of Transparency before, and that's because this is the very first event that we have come out and sponsored. And I wanted to share with you that that's on purpose because in my experience, I've been in the car business now just shy of 20 years, and I have yet to run into someone who is more dedicated and tirelessly works for representing their organization and the automotive industry like Tim Jackson. So I'm very proud to be here sponsoring this with you. I also know that we've got like 20-minute sessions here, and David Kane came up to me last night at the little reception thing, and he said, "Hey, I wanted to thank you because I found out that I'm speaking after you and Todd, so I've just taken my deck and moved it all the way down to 5 slides because I'm not going to have any time left whatsoever." So David, I'm going to try to cede you some time here at the end of this thing, right? But let's talk a little bit about who we are at Transparency. So Transparency is an independent third-party data analytics and BI firm. And my company has a patented methodology that gives us the ability to match a specific anonymous online shopper to a specific offline transaction. So what does that mean in English, right? So for those friends of mine in this industry that travel all over the place, let's say you go on Expedia, right? You're looking for a flight to go to the next city you're going to or a hotel where you're going to stay, and let's say that you're a Marriott Rewards member and you find a Marriott property, right? Well, you want to get credit for the points during your stay, and who cares about booking on Expedia? So you jump off of Expedia and you go book through the Marriott hotel site directly, right? Well, we at Transparency can prove that you started on Expedia and tie that back to the exact hotel room you stayed in and how much money you spent while you were there. So bringing that across to what we do in automotive, you've got sites, these large aggregate publisher sites like AutoTrader, KBB, Cars.com, that millions of consumers visit on a monthly basis, but the sites themselves aren't transactional in nature, and very, very few customers actually submit a lead or call into one of those 1-800 phone numbers, tracking numbers that are there. I was talking at dinner last night with Jennifer Suzuki. Whatever that number is for lead conversion, folks, we should frame it and put it on the wall because it's good as it's ever going to get. My 17-year-old daughter is never going to fill out a form for a car dealer website. Right? She's going to shop across multiple devices, multiple sessions, shop anonymously, and just walk in to the dealership. She'll be as educated as any internet buyer you've ever seen, but she's not going to give you a lead, right? So what we do as a company is start to give you insight to the value of the entire audience. I've got a couple of slides here about how we do that. I think the only thing that I'll share with you, because I don't want to give into too much of David's time, is the fact that we don't use any cookies or any tracking pixels in the process. The differentiator is that we start with the one data source that the dealer has the most faith in, and that's your own transactional data. So we onboard that first-party data from the dealer, and then we anonymize and match that to the IP traffic that was out on any publisher's site. We're sending around this deck. It has the complete methodology and process that you guys can dig into. But I think the reason why I wanted to come up here and really spend some time with you all is to kind of understand how important the attribution conversation is and the role and the part that it plays here in 2017 and beyond in helping you all make better advertising and marketing investment decisions. So it's kind of important to understand how we got here, right? And it all kind of ties back to the information that comes out of the CRM sourcing reports that we use. And I started in the car business back in the late 90s, early 2000s. How many of you have been in the industry that long, right? Well, could we agree that even today, the information that's in your CRM, not the best when it comes to accuracy? Is that a fair statement? I'll put it this way, for those dealers in the room, raise your hand if any of you finalize your accounting statement based on the data in your CRM. No? No takers there? Okay. So if you go, and it's not the CRM company's fault. I mean, I love listening to what Jonathan was talking about this morning about all the tools and solutions that they're developing within the CRM solution to help make that relationship building process better for your consumers. But CRM does not stand for Marketing Decision Management Tool. And here on April the 4th, I promise you, there are some marketing and internet managers back at the store that are pulling down the sourcing report and trying to validate the investment that they made based on what it says on who sold what, right? So let's go back to how we got in this problem in the first place. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, we classified the type of customer by 4 basic categories. They were a walk-in, they were a phone-up, they were an internet lead, and then some nondescript generic other. Right? And now, fast forward, unfortunately, and again, back at that time, we were doing this because we were trying to determine, you know those auto-by-tel leads I'm getting? I'm trying to see if they're effective or not. And that's how that started. We were trying to manage Auto USA and auto-by-tel and all of these lead forms, and so we created these categories by type for the consumer. Well, fast forward to where we sit today, nearly 20 years later, this is still the foundation. Guess what, folks? There's no such thing as a walk-in. How else are they going to get there? Right? And this was my joke for the title of the thing. They didn't come in on a hoverboard. But let's imagine if they did, David. Okay? So let's say they came in on the hoverboard and I went to you as my GM and I said, David, we got another hoverboard customer just came in. Let's put them down in the CRM. Right? We got a hoverboard customer. And then David, as my general manager, looks up the report and says, geez, these hoverboard customers, that's really popular. We've had 159 of them so far this month. You know what we should do? We should put out an ad and hire a hoverboard department manager. Because let me tell you, these hoverboard customers, they require a slightly different process. You know, they're a little unique and different, so we've got to kind of cater to them, right? Now that just sounds ludicrous, correct? Show of hands, how many of you still have an internet sales manager in your store? I'm not trying to fire the internet sales manager, but here's another heads up for you. There's no such thing as an internet sale either. They're all online. And trying to classify our customers by these legacy types makes no sense. And we have comp plans that are in place that incentivize people based on the number of internet deals that we get on a monthly basis, right? So this became the baseline for some of the work that we went out there and we started trying to do. And we partnered with Cars.com and started to look into, and this is an individual case study that we did with a large BMW dealer. We worked with 2 top 10 dealer groups. We looked at, it's a little shy of 20 of their stores. We onboarded all of their data and we did an analysis comparing the data that's in the DMS versus the data that's in the CRM, and then compared that to the shopping traffic that was on Cars.com, okay? Now, I just shared with you today this one BMW data as an example, but the data holds as the baseline example. So again, hopefully this jives and makes sense with everybody. But at this dealer, they had 201 total deals over a 2-month period in the DMS. You ready? In the CRM, they had 140 of those marked as sold. So 30% of their customers that are burning gas are not marked as sold in the CRM, either mislabeled or just downright missing. So think about all the follow-up process that you have. Thanks for being a loyal customer of ABC Motors. Let me introduce you to the 30% just not there, just not getting that message at all, okay? Then, out of those, I keep getting a little bit of feedback here, out of those 140, 79 of those were a match for being on Cars.com prior to coming in and purchasing at the dealership, okay? Guess how many the CRM told them they got credit for at Cars.com? Take 10. I would have taken the under. It's actually 0. Goose egg. Because again, go back to the beginning. The consumer uses these third-party publisher sites to gather information, see variety of choice, just like what you would do on Expedia, and who cares about submitting a lead through there? I'm going to use it to gather all this information, and then I'll go book directly through the other resource, right? So this is the actual breakdown of everything we have there, and look at how many are listed as walk-in and drive-by and so on and so forth. So I share all of this with you, not to try to tell you to say just throw out everything that's in your CRM, because it's a vital tool that you use at your dealerships, but it's not the tool you should use to make decisions on how you invest your marketing dollars, okay? And again, if you know that you've got 30% of your data that's just missing, that's a real challenge that we have as an industry, okay? And by the way, this isn't some independent rural dealer that doesn't have a good process. This is a top 10 large dealer group. We kind of pick them as the best of the best type of case scenario, and this is the data we got, okay? So, we also just published, I think I'm really proud of this, over the last year, we've worked also with Cox across Auto Trader and KBB, and we've published perhaps one of the most comprehensive case studies in the last 5 or 10 years in the automotive space. So we've conducted attribution studies for almost 1,000 dealers across the country, analyzing the traffic that's come across these third-party sites. And the data is very clear, guys, and I just included a couple of sample reports here for you. But 60% of the audience, on average, is visiting these third-party sites prior to coming into the store and transacting. And then over 50% of that 60% are true first-time buyers for that dealer. In other words, we look back across the entire database over the last 5 or 6 years, and if Darren Haygood bought a car this last month, and I don't show up at all in the DMS, I haven't bought a car, haven't been in for service, we would identify that as a true conquest or first-time sale. 50% or more are true conquest customers. So, then I got in this conversation with Jennifer at dinner. She's like, okay, so answer the question for me. Where should I spend my money? Which one of these publishers should I work with? Well, here's going to be a fun answer for you. I'm Switzerland in this conversation, so I'm not trying to lead you one direction or the other. But I do think it's really important before you start making some of these decisions to challenge some of the legacy beliefs that we have in our industry. Right? So I'll leave you kind of on another analogy outside of the car business. If we have Joe here and he's selling Joe's widgets, right? And you know, he's doing a good job selling whatever it is that he sells, and he's got himself a very nice joeswidgets.com website. The last thing that I'm going to do as a proprietor of Joe's Widgets is spend, I don't know, tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars on a monthly basis trying to get people to come to joeswidgets.com. Instead, as fast as I possibly can, I'm going to try to make sure my product is on Amazon because that's where all the people are. And in the car business, unfortunately, we have convinced ourselves that Joe's Widgets is the most important property on the planet, and we've got to try to get everybody there. Not true. And that's not my opinion. That is a data fact, having looked at thousands of attribution studies across every demographic, different brand types all across the country. So I would leave you with this, and again, I'm going to be able to cede a bunch of time here. I'm not trying to tell you to spend money on one publisher versus the other. Instead, I would challenge you to do your own work. Request an attribution study through your advertising partners, whether it's through us or through another company, and stop making decisions based on these legacy metrics. Leads, impressions, visitors, traffic, CPC. Make up your own three-letter acronym. We've probably created it in this lovely industry of ours. But that's all a distractionary tactic trying to take you away from answering the very basic and simple questions which are defined by the actual outcome of all of those visitors and leads and traffic, which is, how many cars did I sell, how many customers did we service, and how much money did I make? And if you'll demand transparency, pun intended, from all of your advertising partners, you'll get a lot closer to being able to answer those questions. I beat my time by like 5 minutes, David Kane, so I appreciate you guys' time again, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the rest of the conference. There you go, sir.
Thank you, sir. Give it up for Darren Haygood. I just love the whole echo thing. Darren, we do appreciate it. We appreciate transparency being one of our elite sponsors, and we appreciate you making the Innovative Dealer Summit your first sponsorship. So we're very excited about that. Some really amazing action items out of that. A simple one would just be compare your DMES sales to your CRM sales, right? What percentage of those are you losing? And then I think Darren left us with a great action item of just request an attribution study. Let's figure out what's that old adage? I know 50% of my online digital money is advertising money is wasted. I just don't know which 50%. So I think we're right there in that ballpark.